Welcome back to Hands of Hope Homestead. I'm so glad you are here. Do you ever feel overwhelmed as a mom? I know I did, and even though we are empty nesters, I still can feel overwhelmed at times, but in a different way. Today I'm going to talk about being a young mom that has raised tiny humans and things that I struggled with, things I did that helped me, things I wish someone would have told me, as well as things I wish I would have done differently. My hope is to encourage you and to let you know that if I can make it through with my hair still intact, so can you. So let's get started. I had my first child at 20, and at the age of 26, I had my last child. That's 4 children, plus 1 miscarriage at 5.5 months along in 6 years. Talk about feeling overwhelmed. First, I want to share things that I struggled with as a young mom. Sleepless nights. You know what I'm talking about, right? The kind of nights when you get maybe 1 to 2 hours of solid sleep, then all of a sudden, the baby is crying, you jump out of bed, stub your toe, go make a bottle while rubbing your eyes because the numbers on the bottle are blurry. Then you feed the baby while trying not to fall asleep, only to notice the bottle is no longer in the baby's mouth and the baby is crying once again. You finally get the baby fed and you need to change the diaper, all while trying to stay awake. And yep, you put the diaper on backwards. Can you relate? And yes, this was me multiple times. Because I suffered from sleepless nights, that led me to be grumpy, irritable, and tired, which was not good for my children, hubby, or even my friends. Feelings of failure. It seemed like my house was always a mess, and believe you me, there was times when it looked like a tornado had touched down, which then led me to feel like a failure because I saw other young moms' houses and they looked like they came right out of a magazine. Some days it felt like all my children did was fight with each other. Of course, they had their moments, but looking back, it wasn't as much or as bad as what I thought at the time. Another feeling of failure I had was trying to do too much in a day and getting absolutely nothing done. Feelings of guilt. When I had days of doing nothing but rocking a fussy baby, and the night before I had made plans of everything I was going to do the next day, I would feel guilty because I had other work that needed done, or so I thought, and yes, some of it was necessary, like feeding the children, laundry, gardening, canning, and dishes, but I still felt guilty because here my husband was out working, and when he would come home, it would look like I did absolutely nothing except rock a fussy baby. I also felt guilty when I would take a me day. Sometimes my me day was going grocery shopping with no children or taking them to grandparents so I could just go home and read a book in complete silence and being able to clean the house with no interruptions and then eat a chocolate candy bar that I didn't have to share or hide in the bathroom to eat it, only to have my children standing outside the closed bathroom door yelling, "Are you done, Mom?" I can't tell you how many times I heard that. Anxiety, fear, and depression soon followed. Anxiety that I would fail my children, fear that something bad would happen to them, depression because I'll never be good enough or measure up to everyone's expectations. Comparing myself to others. Well, let's be honest. That was me being jealous. Some examples of comparing myself to others are not nursing as long as other mothers did, my children misbehaving in public or in church while other children seemed to behave so perfectly, seeing other moms receiving help from their mothers, mother-in-law, sisters, or friends. I didn't have that, and once again, I found myself becoming jealous. Now let's move on to some things that I tried that I feel helped me, and maybe they can help you as well or give you ideas. Made a game of picking up toys with the children. Sometimes I helped them, especially when they were very little but already walking, by giving them a toy and having them put it in the toy box. Setting a timer to see if we could beat the timer was one of my children's favorite thing. They were to have good attitude about picking up their toys and not fight with each other. On days they did beat the timer, had good attitudes and no fighting, they were rewarded with a candy or pop. But there were times when attitudes, fighting, or stubbornness got in the way. But they were learning. When I wanted to get a room picked up, I would set a timer for 15 minutes to see if I could get everything that was in that room that didn't belong back to its designated place before the timer went off. Sometimes I did that while the kids were taking a nap or right before bed. I was not sweeping, mopping, or dusting, just picking up. I did have my children on a schedule for an afternoon nap, and bedtime was at 8 p.m. But along with that, I would say be flexible. I had certain days for laundry, which I still do to this day, twice a week for us. But I love that I was not doing laundry every single day, even when I did cloth diapers. Planning out our meals. For this, I only planned out our supper meals. Breakfast for us was usually eggs, pancakes, and on occasion cereal. For lunch, it was either leftovers or a sandwich with veggies and fruit. I tried to plan my meals for the week on a Sunday afternoon while the children napped, or my husband would watch the children for me later that day if I took a nap as well. Now, let's move on to some things I wish someone would have told me. But I'll tell you. Number 1, give yourself grace. Don't be so hard on yourself. Number 2, don't compare yourself. Everyone is different from each other. Number 3, don't criticize yourself. You're doing the best you can. Number 4, every child is different. What works for one might not work for the other. Number 5, no parent is perfect. We really don't know what we are doing. Yes, I know, as the years go by and or more children come along, we do get a little bit smarter and more wiser. However, we make the best decision we can in that moment and hope for the best. Looking back, I see that there was moments that I made some really good choices in dealing with my children, and in other moments I'm like, whoa, that was not the best. Not doing that way again. Now, on to the raw stuff. Things that are actually hard to think about for me, let alone talk about. But I must, in hopes that others can learn from my mistakes. You see, that's what life is, learning, changing, growing. Things I would have done differently. Spend more one-on-one time with each child. I know that if you have more than one child, that's hard to do, but it doesn't need to be hours. Be more consistent. Letting my children help me more. Yes, they did help with dishes and picking up toys, etc., but I'm talking about letting them learn along beside me. Most times I was always in a hurry and didn't have the time. Looking back now, I wish I would have just made the time and been content with, if I don't get it all done today, tomorrow's another day. Telling my children every day that I love them as well as giving hugs. Those two things are very difficult for me, but I'm trying to do better at that. Bible reading with my children and more family time. We did do it at times, but was not consistent in it, for multiple reasons. Well, looking back, it's just excuses. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some Bible verses that have been very encouraging and dear to me about mothers. Psalms 127:3 says, "Behold, children are a heritage of the Lord, the fruit of the womb." In other words, children are a gift from God, a blessing to be cherished. 2 Timothy 1:5, "I am reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I am convinced that it lives in you also." This shows the power of a godly heritage and the importance of personal faith. Luke 2:51, "And his mother treasured up all these things in her heart." Mary's example of a mother who treasured and reflects upon the events of her child's life even when they are difficult to understand. Proverbs 31:25-27, She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. These verses emphasizes a woman's inner strength and dignity. She is not defined by external appearances, but by her character and inner fortitude, a wise and capable leader, her diligence and responsibility in managing her household. So what does this mean for you? I understand and get that motherhood is hard. As a mother, you have real and significant challenges that will come your way, or maybe you're facing them now. Lack of sleep, physical and emotional exhaustion, and the constant demands of motherhood. Remember, the path of motherhood is a marathon, not a sprint. Take one day at a time, embrace the challenges, and remember to cherish the moments of love and connection that make it all worthwhile. They will eventually grow up and be on their own. What are your thoughts on raising tiny humans? Share your ideas in the comments below.